What's up, everybody? Well, as you can see, I am at the lanes, and today's video is going to be about bowling approaches and releases. I have some slow-mo footage I'm going to go ahead and add to this just to slow it down so that you guys can take a look at how I do my bowling and releases with all three styles. So I'm going to get my lane fully set up, and after that I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be covering your lineup on the dots in reference to the arrows and how to start timing your throws when you're out bowling, just to help you guys out so that you can kind of get an idea. Everybody's got their own style, steps, sizes, and stuff like that. So everybody's going to be a little bit different, but this is just to give you an overall reference of kind of what you're going to want to be doing when you're starting your approach, just so that you can dial in your game. All right, so as soon as I get everything ready, I'll cue back up. Okay, so when you want to start doing your approach and release, the first thing you want to do is get your release dialed down, and then you add it to your approach. Okay, so once you have your releases down, you'll actually see my slow motion footage that I have that'll kind of give you an idea of the different releases that I have. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I line up and how I approach when I no thumb two-handed bowl. Okay, now this is going to be different from anybody, and it always depends on how fast you want to throw the ball, because the farther you gap yourself from the line, the faster you're going to end up throwing the ball, because you have more time to approach the lane. So me, I take the first set of dots and I put my right foot on board 16 right there, and I always back up about a toe length from the dot line so that I'm not right on the dot line. Okay, and then after that I get in position just like this, and I have my ball ready to throw. And then when I'm ready to throw, I'll take one step forward and then take my next step, and then I do my shuffle to my slide, and then I go ahead and have my release momentum in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do a throw so that you can see it, because on my third step is when I start bringing my arms in for the release motion. So as you notice, when I take my second step, I start to bring the ball up and around, getting it into my throw so that my next couple of steps are into the motion of the throw for the release. Now my slow motion footage that I'm going to add into this is going to go ahead and show you that release in slow-mo so that you can get a better look at it, all right? But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and show you the approach and release that I do for my one-handed no-thumb bowling. release your ball in your approach, as you're approaching the line, you should be ready and bringing your ball up. Now, a lot of people say don't bend your elbow. I say bend your elbow, and the main reason why is when you bend your elbow, you retain more control over the ball and more power you can distribute to the ball to throw down the lane. So when you come down, watch my right arm motion. You're gonna come down and you're gonna uncoil just like that and start to roll your wrist on your release so that you end up with something like this. Okay, so my slow motion footage that I have for that will give you a better idea. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with the no thumb one-handed and then the one-handed with the thumb. So I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I changed bowling balls for this because this one has a different pin layout that works better for this type of throw. Now it's almost the same thing. I'll put some slow-mo footage up so that you can see how this throw works, and the approach is a little bit different, but the lineup is pretty much the same. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to line up the same, and when I shoot down lane, the arrows on the board, I'm going to be aiming for arrow 15 when I go ahead and throw. Now what you want to make sure of is when you line up, if I line up on 20, this slide foot, whatever foot you slide with, needs to be on the same board that you started your approach on from the line back here where the dots are. So I'm going to go ahead and do this throw, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So my foot slipped just a little bit on that one, so I had to do a little bit of a shuffle on the line, but I was right around the same point on the line that I started at back there. Like I said, I'll put some slow-mo footage up for you so you can go ahead and see how that throw works at 3 different angles in slow motion, okay? So now we're gonna do my thumb style throw. All right, so when you're throwing no thumb with one hand, it's almost the identical, but you just don't have this hand. So you're gonna want this ball to come up. You're gonna want to curl because you want the ability to unroll like that. Okay, now it always depends. Don't do this. This is how you break your fingers. You want to come off the ball like that, if anything, okay? You want to be able to roll it out to the side as you throw it down lane. So it looks something like this. So that's basically how you want to do it. Like I said, check out the slow-mo footage. Rewind it if you have to. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So now we're going to cover this traditional throw with the thumb, and we're going to talk about a little bit more of the technicals about it because it is a harder way to throw the ball. going to go ahead and do my approach when I throw with my thumb in the ball. And this one, just like all the rest of them, is a little bit different, so I'm going to add slow-mo footage for this one as well. I'm going to line up a little bit different on the board. I'm actually going to line up on 15 this time, and I'm going to aim for arrow number 10. All right, and I also hold differently on the set position for this as well. Okay, so you can see how I take a couple steps, I get the ball moving in my stepping process into my approach, and then as I slide, I release the ball. Now, I always try to bend my knee in the throw as the ball gets released to transfer the energy into the ball. Like I said, I got some slow-mo footage I'm going to put up of this particular throw from 3 different angles, so you can see that, and then we'll get started on a couple of the aiming positions and stuff like that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cover what it's like to throw the ball with your thumb. Now, like I said, this is actually harder to learn than it is with no thumb. It's harder to develop your revs. It takes longer to perfect this, and I guess that's why there's a lot of controversy to it. But the basic principles of the throw are all the same. As you saw in the slow motions and some other stuff like that, you can see how the approach ties into the throw. You still want to be able to keep your wrist curled and bring your elbow up. And the main reason why is because if you look at a lot of pro bowlers, they have a snap in the ball as they let it off their hand like that. And that's basically what you want to do, is you want to develop the ability to come just like that, try to stay underneath the ball as much as possible, and you want to be able to roll it out like that, okay? So it'll look something like this. Alright, so try that. If it doesn't work for you, go to no thumb one-handed, go to no thumb two-handed, find what works for you, and then keep practicing on that. But if you are one of those people that really wants to learn how to bowl with your thumb, you've got to learn how to uncoil. If you have a yo-yo, practice your yo-yo. That's the motion right there with the yo-yo. If you want to be able to practice how to set your axis tilt and stuff like that and be more consistent, get a football. A lot of people say can of soup. I say get a football. The main reason why is because if you can learn how to roll a football off your hand without it doing this, you're pretty consistent, all right? So, let's see what happens with the rest of the stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna cover the aiming. You got the approaches, you know what you're looking for, you know what you gotta do to improve your game. Let's talk about aiming. There's a rule of 31. You take whatever your oil pattern length is and you deduct 31, and that gives you the board that you want your break point to be. And that's going to be the point in your hook of a bowling ball where it starts to go the opposite direction, okay? Now, depending on where you move will depend on what you do. We have a 42-foot pattern, so the rule of 31 makes it board number 11 down lane. So I'm going to come all the way over here, and we're going to see if we can really hook the bowling ball a lot. So I'm going to go to board 36 with my right foot with the intention of my left foot sliding on board 36. I'm going to do a two-handed no thumb throw, and we're going to try and achieve board 11 down lane. Now, this takes a while to get used to. It's not always something that you can do right off the bat, so it takes a lot of practice. So I encourage you to keep practicing. But I'm aiming at 35, and my throw needs to hit board 11 down lane. So I'm going to be shooting for board 18 at the arrows. just like that, okay? Now, that ball went right down board 18 at the arrows. If you notice in the video, it went all the way to board 11, hit the break point, and started going back towards the pocket. So that's what you want to keep in mind when you're doing your bogey, is figure out how far you need to be moving with the way you throw and how much hook you put into the bowling ball for your overall arc, and figure out what arrow you need to aim for to get to your break point board based off the length of your oil pattern. So other than that, I'm going to keep bowling. I hope this was helpful. You let me know in the comments down below if you think I missed anything or there's anything else you want me to cover when it comes to bowling. I've got another video I'm going to be coming out with pretty soon that is, are old bowling balls really dead, or is it just what they tell you? Alright? So anyway, you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you liked anything in the video, share it with a friend, and don't forget your notification bell. I'll see you next time.